It's currently 6:42 a.m. and we've travelled a distance of 469 nautical miles, and we have just anchored up outside Kangaroo Island this morning. I'm really looking forward to today. The worst thing about today is that it's going to be 39 degrees, but South Australia, this time of the year, you gotta learn to expect that. The arrangement for getting off the boat today is heading to the Orient Bar from 7 onwards and picking up a disembarkment ticket, and you have to wait in the public lounges, and they're going to call the ticket numbers up to get everyone off the boat. They're still expecting, when they gave us the guide, so they give out these little guides each day, they're still expecting that there might be about a 30-minute delay, so hopefully not too much. The longest I think I've waited in a tender line is probably an hour and 10 minutes, so if we get to that's going to stink. It's been told we're heading up to the pantry for breakfast. Early morning pantry runs are simply the best. There's not a lot of people around, so you can manage to find yourself a seat and enjoy your breakfast without feeling like you're being pushed out the door. We had a big day ahead of us, so we chowed down and got ourselves ready. Nothing too exciting this morning, it's a big day. It was a tender boat off the ship today, and I really like the way that Jill had organised this. You had to go through the Orient Bar and actually pick up a disembarkment ticket, and you had to wait in the lounge area until they called your colour. This was so much better than having to line up down in the bottom of the boat with all the other people that decided to leave the same time as you. It made for a quick exit off the boat, and before we knew it, we were on the tender and over to the island. I just wish they had this process last year when we were on the Explorer. Having been on Kangaroo Island last year during our last cruise, we knew that there wasn't a lot to see in around Pennicott. So we hired a car this year. Highly suggest if you're doing this same trip that you do the same too. You'll see a lot more of the island. Although it was a sign of my age when they gave me a keyless car, and we did sit in the car park for a time until I managed to learn how to drive the damn thing. With lots of help from the backseat passengers, we were on our way, and our first stop was Seal Bay. Entry down into Seal Bay is through National Park Pass. An adult will cost you $16. The walkways are very well maintained, and it's a pretty easy walk down to the beach. The hardest thing was making our way back up again. It's always easier to go downhill, isn't it? You cannot go down onto the beach with the sea lions unless you have got a National Parks tour guide with you, but we had a really good vantage point from where we were standing on the view platform. From Pennicott to Seal Bay, we had been in the car for approximately 2 hours, which meant that it was time for lunch. We stopped into the Vivone Bay store on our way out to Flinders National Park. It was delicious and actually made a little bit better than what they were doing on the boat. Following an approximate 3-hour drive, we did enter into Flinders National Park. We had to stop at the park's centre and get ourselves a pass. This time we paid $11 to enter the park, and Jeff was the $11 man for the rest of the day. He wanted to be guaranteed that he was going to get his $11 worth when we visited the park. I don't think he was disappointed. There was still a little bit of driving to be done, and our first stop in the national park was the Remarkable Rocks. Due to the fact that I had Jeff with me, I thought it was really important to read the safety procedures for actually heading out onto the rocks. There were lots of selfies of him there he is falling down, slipping, getting blown off, and a wave crashing on him. Hang on a minute, come here Jeff, hold my hand. It was like being a big kid climbing all over the rocks again. From here we headed down to the Admirals Arch, and there was also a seal lookout. This time we were looking at fur seals, and they were frolicking and playing around in the water. You can just make them out here in the background. The views were spectacular. There was a little bit of a walk down to see the Admirals Arch from underneath. You can imagine what this place might be like with rough seas, given the state of the benches and also the railings on the way down. With all the hiking we were doing, we were quickly running out of time, so it was time to head back. Looks like a scrambled mess, but it is bloody good.
You should have done it before you started.
Yeah, here's one. A better one.
There's a roll. That looks good. I've mashed mine. The lady at the car hire warned us to have the car back around 3 o'clock so that we could easily get fuel. Of course, we pushed those boundaries and we ended up getting back into Pentecote about 4 o'clock. We needed to be back on the last tender around 4:30. There was a bit of a line-up for fuel, so just keep this in mind if you are going to hire a car at Kangaroo Island. Give yourself time to be able to fuel back up. I couldn't have thought of a better way to spend Australia Day, and after having such a fantastic day on Kangaroo Island, we headed back to the boat to join in the Australia Day festivities. This included lots of great Australian music, a beer on the deck, and an Australia theme in the restaurant that evening. We had travelled over 400 k's today. We saw some amazing sights and look forward to visiting again to pick up on those places that we didn't quite get to this time around. Bye, Kangaroo Island! Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out our other videos of our cruise adventures around Australia and abroad. Until next time.